Hi, Nicole. Michelle here. I wanted to give you some feedback on your final story. Great job. I feel like you have a really nice package here. Interesting story, lots of sources. The video tells a different story, but it's related. It gives you insight. The chart was interesting. So you definitely fulfilled the mission of 304 and told a really nice multimedia story. Um, I'm going to give you the link so you can look at the back end, but what I essentially did was just sort of streamline it. Um, you have the right idea. I feel like it's a little bit in places overwritten. Um, so really look at ways to make it concise and um, uh, direct. That's going to really resonate. It's going to make it more readable for your readers, and that's kind of what we want. So instead of when you want to eat a little bit of everything, you go to a buffet. When you want to listen to a little bit of everything, you go to any music venue in Lincoln. That's because there's no shortage of musical styles in this local scene. I changed that to the Lincoln music scene is a lot like a buffet. You can sample a bit of everything. To me, that's the same thing said in a very concise, clear, direct way. And it gets to the same idea. So I tried to do that throughout. So you can kind of look at where I've um, tried to make things a little bit more concise. Um, I still think there might be other, I didn't do a wholesale edit. I think there's still some places that were a little bit wordy. Um, Trying to find an example. Um, when you're talking about here in Nebraska, expanding this community is part of the inspiration behind Norman's organization. He said, I think that whole sentence could be maybe made more active voice, and a little less wordy. Um, Something else I was going to mention. Yeah, I think the other thing that might have helped this story a little bit was to have you know, at some point have a net graph. Um, so you've set up this case in point. I added that. Okay, so maybe right after you quote um, Zach Krastel, there could be a net graph that sort of that kind of gives you a roadmap for the rest of the story. This story is going to talk about all the other parts that you're going to talk about. Uh, the Independence does this. Uh, the level of support, the transients, all of these kind of play into what makes Lincoln's music scene unique. Kind of reflecting that in a net graph, I think, would sort of help really focus this. Okay, the video, really like the video. We talked about that. The graphic was nice. I'm just not sure the way that it was embedded really worked. I'd have to go back and look at Infogram and try to figure out what exactly happened. Because I'm not really sure. It should be, when you're previewing it, it should be clickable on the site, and it seems like you have to click off to see it. For instance, this link. So I'm not quite sure. It's not a big deal. I think you could probably also bring it in smaller if there's a way. and still have it be flexible. I'm just not sure. Not a big deal. I'm not going to count off for that. But those are my thoughts. Let me know if you have any questions. Good job on this. Have a great summer.